Alright guys, so in this video, I thought I would put a bow on the entire Oakland Athletics stadium saga, taking a look at the 5 major different stadium renderings they've had since 2002 to present day. I did one of these videos on the Tampa Bay Rays and all their different stadium concepts. Unfortunately, for the Oakland Athletics, it does look like it's not going to end well with the A's moving to Las Vegas and none of these stadiums getting built. But the first thing you've got to talk about when it comes to the Oakland Athletics Stadium is the Oakland Coliseum and the construction of the monstrosity that is Mount Davis, which is just a wall of 20,000 seats and suites that was built in order to lure an NFL team, and it made the baseball stadium one of the worst 4 or 5 stadiums, quickly became, I would say, the worst stadium in the MLB, as all of the other teams started to build newer stadiums to replace their multi-purpose stadiums, and it's ridiculous. I mean, it's the only thing you'll see at any MLB stadium to where there's a separate section, upper deck section in the outfield. It's unheard of, and that's the main reason the Coliseum became so bad. That's the main reason the Oakland Athletics started looking at possible plans to build a new stadium in Oakland. The first stadium plan comes in 2002 when HOK Sport and the city of Oakland released a study that looked at several different sites for the new A's proposed ballpark. By mid-2002, the parties had settled on an uptown location. This stadium had a capacity of 42,000 and would have been located at 20th Street between Telegraph and San Pablo Avenues. The plan was eventually vetoed by the mayor of Oakland, who was in favor of using the site for housing instead. So this is the first design I could see, and it kind of has an interesting stadium district triangle look to it, with the 2 streets coming together, creating almost a triangle. Very, very hard to get many renderings on this, so I'm just going to keep it short. The only thing I can say about these 2002 plans that are unique when you compare them to the more recent stadium proposals we've seen out of Oakland is the capacity. Remember, back in 2002, people weren't thinking about 30,000 seat stadiums, 35K with standing room. This is a very kind of retro mid-90s feel. Just looking at this ballpark, you've got your standard upper deck. You know, again, it's kind of hard to even see any of these renderings because there's so few of them, but that was the first stadium development I was able to dig up. The next one coming in 2005, this was a 35,000 seat ballpark that was to be located just north of the existing Oakland Coliseum. The plans ended up getting abandoned in late 2005 when the existing property owners refused to sell the land. So this is kind of the first modern stadium proposal we've seen, in 2005, Oakland, 35,000 seats. The first thing, just looking at this ballpark, you've got the center field pyramid, and it's weird that we've never seen a team incorporate a pyramid seating design because it is such a unique design, but there's a pyramid, and then the biggest factor being kind of the built-in, you almost want to say like hotel slash Wrigley Field type vibe where you've got like a pool on top. It looks like really, really interesting. Almost reminds me of a few minor league stadiums. You've got 2 buildings, one kind of in center field with, almost balcony-like stands. Then you've got like a little taller building with the pool on top. And then you have the Wrigley design right above, left field with almost kind of like that Western Metal Supply Company building with San Diego at Petco Park. And you've got rooftop seating over there. And then you also do have very modern design upper deck. You do also kind of have extension seating above right field where there's a very small tier like 4 sections of seating almost on the rooftop. So I don't know if they were trying to add in more seating there, but this is an intricate design, and, you know, they're really incorporating the aspect of, like, you know, the hotel feel, the balconies. That's like a main part of this ballpark. The only issue I see with this is, like, the center field area. It seems like, you know, this ballpark would be very deep to left center. You know, like, look at left center and right center. It seems like it's 400 feet to the gaps, and then dead center, it kind of just jets across. So it seems like a deeper ballpark in that estimation, but I do like the pyramid design. It seems like it fits really well. So there is that one, and then just a year later, we had Cisco Field, which was to be located in Fremont. This concept was proposed by A's management. Plans called for another 35,000-seat ballpark in the Southern Bay Area suburb of Fremont. The plans were derailed by a veto from the Fremont City Council in 2009. So you can see this one, very similar design. You know, when looking at this one versus the last, this kind of seems more realistic. You know, you've got the outfield seating in left field, kind of a weird configuration. It's not a pyramid, but it's like, I don't know, I've never seen a configuration like that. But you can kind of see how the buildings are located to where a lot of them have views of the field. You're really bringing in the community aspect there. Another 35,000 seat one. You do have more rooftop, you know, seating, which is interesting. And this one just strikes me as crazy because the amount of buildings that have views of the ballpark, those are all brick buildings. Really, really unique design. I don't know what's going on in center field there. I guess that's just, you know, maybe it's just the batter's eye or whatever, but I do like the all brick design. I'm not sure how it would fit Oakland and their overall color scheme of being green, but you can kind of see that right field seating. It's got that kind of hover, like 5-section approach, and then just under it, it's got 2 sections right there. That's an interesting design as well. This one ended up not happening in 2009. It got struck down. Again, you've got a very modern upper deck, very small, sectioned off. There's no wall of seating. And then you also do have the fact that this is another 35,000 seat design that was originally rendered in 2005. And then I saw this. I'm not sure if this was an updated design of Cisco Field, but that's what I'm going to assume it was, maybe in 2008 or 2009. But you can see they call those things in right field, looks like standing room mini suites. And then you can see maybe a restaurant down the right field line with all that bricking. I'm not exactly sure where the wall is. If you guys see where it says restaurant with a question mark, but where's the wall? You know, that's because it looks like that's in play. That's not down the foul line. That is in play. But you can see the design there on this one. They've got kind of 2 decks in left field and then club seats over top of the second deck, which is a design we really never see anywhere. So that is just another design, maybe the updated one of Cisco Field. And then they also have a sunken field as well. And then they decided a few years later to shift their renderings and their plans to Howard Terminal. And this is the actual first stadium renderings we got out of Howard Terminal. A lot of people don't even know this rendering exists, but this was originally the first one. And to me, this is by far my favorite ballpark they had designed at Howard Terminal. The next 2 I'm going to show, they're both like this green disaster mess with a bunch of grass and shrubs and things, and I just don't think that looks good. This one is a legitimate MLB ballpark. You've got some nice lighting. You've got the harbor field with kind of the cranes and things like that, and then you do have the water right next to it. I do like this ballpark design. This was the first one that was the renderings were made public before the next 2 ones that a lot of people don't know about. So I do like this design, but it ended up not happening. And then the 2 renderings that a lot of people do know this is the first one. These came out like around 2017, 2018 for the Howard Terminal plan. Very, very strange. A bunch of weird standing room seating. You kind of have a jetted hill with trees on each side of it. Looks like a minor league ballpark. Really not a fan of this design at all. You know, it's just, it is what it is. And then they released an updated version of this plan with even more greenness to it, showing off. You can kind of see it, a lot of standing room, very little seating, around a capacity of about 30,000 people in that design. And then this newer one, which I'm sure most people are familiar with, this was the recent renderings that came out, I believe, in the winter of 2021. This was going to be called Oakland Ballpark at Howard Terminal, kind of like Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And you see the greenness to it, kind of just an updated version of the last one, with a bunch of trees, the rolling hills. You know, very, very strange design for a ballpark. This is kind of like the whole futuristic green city thing. And listen, I just don't think the green fits in a stadium. I think it's ugly. It is my personal opinion, but that was their plans with kind of, I'm not even sure if you guys can see, I'm going to try and explain this. The seating right above the second deck, is that what that is? Is that upper deck seating? It looks very like a vertical. So I don't know what that is, but it does look like there's 3 tiers of seating. But again, very small in terms of overall capacity. That's mainly due to the A's not really drawing well. Why build a stadium that's 40,000 seats? Also, it's due to the modern times we live in, to where every ballpark is kind of scaling down. We're having a lot more social spaces. There's no reason to have a bunch of upper deck seats. You might as well just make that standing room area when it comes to that. So those are the main Oakland ballpark renderings throughout the years from 2002 to as recent as 2022. And it does look like none of these are going to be happening. The most recent one, the Howard Terminal design, you know, with the idea that they're possibly moving. There is still a slight hope. Again, I have seen a few articles I mentioned a few days ago that maybe the move to Vegas isn't 100%, but it does seem very likely logistically. Seems like John Fisher wanted to tear this team down and force the move, and he's done just that. And they did run into some problems purchasing some land on the Vegas Strip. They've shifted their focus now. They're trying to purchase kind of a hotel and just tear down an old hotel and build the stadium there in Las Vegas. So that is the full history of the Oakland Athletics Stadium saga. It started with Mount Davis, and it ends with a failed Howard Terminal proposal. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.